Hey yo, what is up? I got two replays for you today. We are in province and we are looking at the M4A1 FL10 or the Lootbox Tier 6 premium tank. This is what you will get inside the loot boxes, or a very high probability of you getting it. If you don't get a tier 8 premium tank, you'll definitely get a tier 6 premium tank. And as usual, this is my reaction video, aka my first game in this tank and my only game in this tank, by the way. We'll cover the performance of this tank in this video. We're gonna cover the equipment that I use, and we're gonna talk about the crew that is going to be set up to maximize your throughput on this tank. And in the end, you're gonna decide if you'll buy some of these loot boxes to try to get this tank. But first of all, let's talk about the crew. It takes a 4-man crew, but unfortunately there is an odd one out here. Yes, there is no Radioman in your French medium tank lines. Not in your bad chat line, not in your 30B lines. There are just no Radiomans anywhere. Well, there's one somewhere in your tier 3 or something, but let's be real here, nobody has a tier 3 tank, right? It's just a free garage slot after you've grind through it. Your best bet is, of course, the Radioman from your Britannia Panther. If you're from EU, you know which tank I'm talking about. It's the tier 6 captured Panther. It has the elusive Radioman in it. Of course, that is also a premium tank. For the NA peeps, I got you. It's the Britannia Panther in your French line. And if you're from Alabama, it's the Brett Agnew Panther. Now, this Radioman is kind of a deal breaker for a lot of players, because he's the guy that holds all the vision skills, aka situational awareness. Yes, the situational awareness on your commander in the bad chat or in the 30B, it's going to be useless because it's going to be in your Radioman. So what's the deal? It means you got to spend some gold and you got to spend some credits to train up his ass. And in tier 6 matchups, vision is kind of a big deal, right? With view range skills, you can totally dominate a tier 6 game and be the goddamn hero. Right now, this is a tier 6 matchup. I'm not playing as aggressive as I could play because this is, after all, my first game, and I'm trying to like survive as long as I can so I can give you some kind of like you know, review of this tank, how I feel about this tank. So let's talk about the equipment. We move on to the equipment. I am running the IRM, I'm running the improved aim, and I'm running optics in this tank. Of course, you can run all kinds of different setups in this tank. I just feel this is what works for me. This tank does not take a vertical stabilizer, so you don't use a vertical stabilizer. Instead, you use the improved rotation mechanics. This, of course, helps with your dispersion on the move. While you're moving, the dispersion is 25. Is it 25 or 15% smaller? Reduced dispersion. So improved rotation mechanics is a must on this tank. You can run vents in this tank instead of the improved aim if you like. Of course, vents will give you more skills on your BIA skills, on your camouflage skills, on your aim time. So you can run vents if you like. I just prefer a smaller dispersion with the improved aim equipment that I have right now. And of course, optics on medium tanks, it makes sense. You see me earn a little bit of spotting damage later on in the game. It is very useful if you, I mean, there's no other equipment that you can use on this tank. You're not going to use binocular telescope or some other ridiculous equipment, right? So this is like kind of like a regular setup. again, improved rotation mechanics, IRM, or improved aim or vents, and optics is the best option. You see me here with the gold paint job and a little bit of transparent camo here on the hull of my body. This is my Christmas present from Wargaming. It gave us a bunch of gold paint, white paint, red and blue paint, which is really rare. Nobody's got this paint job. So thanks Wargaming for the paint job. In the next replay, we're going to talk a little bit more about the stats on this tank, and we're going to compare it with the Strv M42, the Swedish counterpart to this tank. So in the meantime, we're reaching the end of this game. I've done 1600 damage, not too bad. I did not play super aggressively, although I could have done a little bit more damage if I had fired more premium shells. I did fire only standard shells until right here I ran out of standard shells and switched to premium shells. If I did use premium shells earlier, this could have easily been a 2,500 3,000 damage game, but I thought I'd give it a shot, just try the standard penetration, standard ammo, and see what it feels like. Of course, standard penetration is only 148, so it's not like really good penetration for a tier 6, but I wanted to see how it goes, and for a first game it's not bad. Still got a second class, did a little bit of damage, 1684, a little bit of spotting, 227 of assisted damage there, not too bad. But now we are going to ride with Fading Neptune. He's on Twitch, links in the description below. I'll link his Twitch description below. You can click on him and follow him on. He's running, he's rocking the Nutcracker camo from the Christmas camo thing, and I like this camo as well. Now he's in TryHard mode, super TryHard mode in fact, because he is firing full premium shells on this tank. Now, like I said, we're going to compare this tank with the Strv M42. Fading Neptune here, he's running his tank with the vents instead of the improved aim. Now here we go. This is the M4A FL10, 810 HP. Right off the bat, it has a little bit more HP than the Strv M42. The speed 48 kilometers an hour going forward and 20 in reverse. On paper, it looks similar to the Strv M42, the Swedish auto-loading tank, but look at the power. 530 horsepower versus 340 in the Swedish counterpart, and the power to weight ratio 17.55 versus the Strv 13.28. What does this mean? This means this tank has a lot more agility than the Strv M42 because of the higher power to weight ratio, higher horsepower, and the traverse speed. The hull traverse 44.85 degrees versus the Strv 39 degrees. You are looking at a tank that has a lot more agility than the Strv M42. The hull armor profile and the turret armor profile is almost similar to the Strv, but the reload time, you are talking about 2 seconds slower reload than the Strv. Slower reload, and the damage is also 15 HP smaller than the Strv. Strv doing 150 damage, this one does 135 damage. They both have 4 seconds auto reloaders, and the penetration 148 standard pen, 186 premium pen. Gun depression 6 degrees of gun depression and 12 degrees of elevation. Shell velocity 925 on the standard shells, and on the standard this is AP shells as well. Standard AP shells is 1160 meters per second. So a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences as well. The aim time 1.82 seconds, a lot quicker aim than the Strv, which has 2.21 aim time. The Strv, of course, does have better dispersion, 0.34. The FL10 has 0.36 dispersion, which is why I like to run it with an improved aim equipment instead of the vents. Moving dispersion, however, is slightly better than the Strv M42. Now, our friend here, Fading Neptune, already 1631 damage. He is gone full ham. Look at how hard he is pushing, because he is top tier, because he's the top dog. And basically, when you are playing in tier 6 matchmakers, most of your teammates and most of your enemies do not have fully researched tanks. They do not have fully researched crew. So if you have crew that has good view range, if you have crew that is like experience with a lot of crew skills, you can easily outperform all your enemies, because you have the maximum view range, because you have the maximum skills. That is why this tank is absolutely awesome. If you have all the skills and all the equipment, all the right conditions working for you, do you want this tank? Is this tank worth it? I'll be honest with you, out of all the premium tanks that are in the loot boxes this year, this is the most OP tank that I can see in the loot boxes. You can absolutely seal club, hammer the enemies down, and you can beat them to a pulp and totally own this game mode. As you can see, Fading Neptune here doing over 2700 damage right now, and spotted 564 damage for himself, because he has the full view range, running optics and vents, which means his view range is like absolutely maximum plus a little bit more. And you can see why this tank is really fun to play with. I don't know how it will perform in strongholds. I presume it's going to do pretty well as well. If you pair it up with the Cromwell bees and you have a Type 64 spotting for you, I don't see how this tank is going to be weak in any way. Here you go, that's the end of the video. Over 3000 damage, 564 spotting damage, ace tanker for our friend here, Fading Neptune. If you want to go follow him, you can follow him in the link below on his Twitch. And 26 shots fired, he hit 25 of them with 25 100% penetration out of all the shots he hit. Just 5 minutes, just under 6 minutes of a gameplay and an ace tanker with 3000 damage. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like in the comments below, and I hope I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.